Hello and good evening and welcome, a warm welcome to join my live stream, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. This is the evening show. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and it's a warm welcome because I know how bad CPS must be to you. I too was a victim of CPS, and I know what you're going through. CPS is a very hard entity to deal with. It involves a lot of emotion and a breakup of a family. And family is so important to most of you. As you come into my room, I want you to feel free to ask me a question or make a comment about CPS. All I ask is for your first name and the location, your city and state, or your city and country. This live stream is put around the world. I have right now 30 countries that have spoken on this live stream, and then all 50 states have. And I've heard nothing but bad things about CPS. I really haven't heard any good things. I've only had one social worker for the CPS be a guest of my live stream. I've had some foster parents be on here, but I've talked to over 2,600 people. 2,600 people. And they all have something in common. They had a bad encounter with social services, the CPS part of social services, and the police. Now, I'm not saying all social services is bad or all CPS is bad or all police are bad. There's enough of them that made a very bad experience. I firsthand know because my kids were illegally taken from me and trafficked into foster care, then abused. This went on for 2 years, the summer of 2015 to December of 2017. And it wasn't until I got an attorney that things started to change for me. Now, maybe eventually my kids would have been returned, but one of them actually was coached by a social worker of how to divorce her parents. Along with the social worker, there's a judge involved, and then CASA, the CASA rep assigned to my daughter. And what they did, they orchestrated for her to divorce her parents. They told her, this is how you can get back at your parents. And I don't know why our daughter went through with this because she's pretty good about it. But apparently, my family had been kind of down ever since I lost my job. And when I lost my job, I had to pull up the reins and I couldn't do all the things we used to do. Like one thing was we went to Disneyland when we wanted to. We had Disneyland passes. But Disneyland passes are expensive now. And when you don't have a job, especially when you have mortgage payments and a beautiful home, forever home, you got to cut corners somewhere. I needed at least a set amount of money every month to live where we lived. And I had bare minimum because I had a first and a second and property taxes you had to pay on that home. The only thing is I elevated our family to my income. And that's something that I found out that was a mistake. You should never elevate your lifestyle to your income, or let alone two incomes. If you and your wife both work, never elevate your lifestyle to both incomes. I mean, I was making enough that I was making an equivalent of two incomes. And it's almost the same thing because see what happened is when you have disasters like that, you only last so long. I had to get my children back, so I sacrificed the home, my forever home, and quick sold it so I can get my children back. And I had to hire a very important person to help me get some of my children back. Now, I have, worked or have a lot of life skills for 61 years. I started to work when I was age 15. So I've been working solidly, and I knew that by hard work, you can reward yourself with nice things. But I lost my job in 2010, and it was hard. And I certainly did not know that my in laws would make every effort to ruin my wife and I's lifestyle by making false allegations. And I did not know they were doing this. But apparently, I would say sometime in 2014 or 13, they were calling in because I started getting these social workers knocking on the door. Now, I did not know about one of my rules I made, rule number 3, that says don't talk to social workers because they'll get you in trouble. Don't let them in your home. Don't let them have your children. But I made some mistakes because I was intimidated by the police because they always seem to have police out. The reason is, the supposed reason is to protect the social workers. We just had a social worker stomped to death a couple of days ago by a guy who's trained on drugs. There are bad parents out there. I'm not saying that all parents are bad. I'm not saying all parents are good either. But this individual was so high on drugs that he killed the social worker, stomped on him. So you really have to be careful out there when you deal with CPS. Um, I'm here to help you all when you have a problem or need a question answered. All I'm asking you is to give me your first name, your city and state, and if you're outside the United States, give me your country. As I said, I have 30 countries and 50 states involved here, and over 2,600 people. Some of you are several from the same state. But no matter where you are, I've talked to a father up in Alaska that was camping out to be close to his family. His wife had died, and he's trying to get his kids back, and all he had was a thin fabric tent pitched in the snow. He couldn't afford accommodations, but he wanted to be close to his kids. He wanted to be able to visit with them and see them. Now, most of you have issues where it's up and down. I can't tell until you start asking me questions and give me comments. But I want to help you. I want to help you. And so this is what this show is all about. I'm here to help you, here to answer your questions. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I have an attorney that worked for me that I hired. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's at 888-888-6582. That's his law office where he works. He has a law firm, and he has a lot of attorneys that deal in all kinds of different areas, like the immigration problems in law, workman comp, divorce, which is a horrible thing to go through. But CPS is the most horrible thing I've ever been through in my life. Because you're dealing with an agency, in my case is Orange County, and it's called CPS, Child Protection Services. They did nothing but try to ruin the family. They didn't care about the family. And they believed all these false allegations by the lay people to be true. Now, at that time, I couldn't afford an attorney. All I had was my savings and my inheritance, and my savings were cut in half by the banks going bellied up in 2008. There's a lot of foreclosures. The banks had predatory loans. They give loans to people and then jack up their income so they qualify. And one of the worst ones was Countrywide. And when they jack up your income, you're placed into a kind of a bad situation where you won't have the funds. But they got really creative with me, by the way. They gave me a second. Not only did I get a mortgage, but they gave me a second. It's a credit line. And they said, don't worry, you don't have to use it. It's there for emergency. Well, of course, I'm going to use it because there's no way that I made enough to pay for the payments and all the other expenses. And I had no idea that they had changed how much I made. And so I could qualify for the loan. And then the guy selling the loan gets his markup, he gets his profit. There's so much going on it and so forth. So it was a bad time for me in 2008. 2009, I moved to a new job, a forever job. It's a chance for more pay and everything. And at that new job, I got a lot of work for the company. The only problem is that the government of California went bankrupt, and most of my work is with them. Roads and highways. But they had to put a hold on my contracts and use that money that was awarded to it to keep California afloat. They also had to fire all the experienced social workers because they couldn't afford them. They looked at two areas how to resolve this. So I was hit with hard times. I had a predatory loan, which I didn't know at the time. I later found out, and Countrywide was sold to Bank of America, and I sued Bank of America, but I didn't get much money out of it. But some money is better than nothing. I've been finding that out too. Now I'm here to talk about the child protection system, is what I call it. It's a government entity that was started in the 60s and officially became CPS in 1974. Then later on, they had some laws and they were starting to enforce them in the 80s and 90s. By the time 2000 rolled around, CPS was well established and was learning how to make money. A lot of money, $1 trillion of money. And they were sending $1 billion to the state, and the state was sending $1 million to the county. Then the county social workers would disperse the money to the people that would help them. I mean, they had court-appointed attorneys that they had found out that most of the low income couldn't afford a real attorney, and they would take them. But that was a bad thing because the court-appointed attorneys, they are licensed, but they may be licensed the wrong law. You need to be background. You need to be licensed in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Those are the 3 areas of law that the child protection system is in. It's dependency laws are primary. That's the one where they fit into there. Family law and juvenile law is dealing with children and moms and dads and stuff. But still, you need to have that background. You need to have that background. Now, I have a program, SteamYard, that I haven't yet loaded on my computer. What's there, but my computer's been down. I need a new AC brick adapter. It's the power supply, or not, is to charge up your computer and give you power from the wall outlet. The only problem is the computer is so new that no one has the part. I am dealing directly with the manufacturer, Asus, and they tell me any day it should be here, but I've yet to see it. I found a third party that has the same power supply and all the other things there too. But it was like terrible what was happening to me because when they take your children, they take away all your rights. Now, you still have your medical and educational rights, but they'll soon be after that. You see, the first immigrants, the Indians, the native tribes, there's 584 recognized federal tribes. That's a lot. Now, I realize some of the tribes are small. Now, I'm thinking a little bit about what to talk about in the show here, and it's really nice if you guys would give me a comment or give me a question that I could react on. Because this is how the room is successful if you guys would talk to me. And I like you all to make a comment. I'm not trying to twist your arm too hard. But all I ask is your first name and then um, whether you got a question or a comment. That's all you have to do. You may have a question is that what happens when I remove the court appointed attorney? What happens if I don't remove them? There's lots of questions that need to be answered. Now, I only stuck to um, to the main issue about how to get your children back. In order to do so, I've come up with 5 rules that if I had those implemented, I would never have lost my children. See, they're not supposed to take a child unless they're in imminent danger, or if the child remained there, it could be in imminent danger. I was wrongly accused of neglect of our children. And it wasn't what you would think neglect was. It was something that's so crazy because they couldn't find anything. They'd be out with a report from my in laws, my wife's mother and father, and 3 sisters and a brother. They're the ones that were orchestrating this. I did not know that till well after the case was over, but then I found out and I'm just so angry. They're fibbing because they wanted our children. They thought with me being without a job, they said, oh, he's done. We'd love to adopt those children, raise them as our own. Um, so it's a hard thing to swallow when you have in-laws that don't really wanted to come to your wedding or see you guys get married or anything else. Now, um, a lot of you come or go or hang out and finally get a question you want answered, but don't wait till the 10. My show ends um, at 7 o'clock. My show goes from um, 6 to 7, 1 hour. Right now, it looks like the room's empty. I don't know if that's true or not because sometimes I think it is, and then people are still there. Right now, we have nobody laying a comment or talking. I know that part. And I appreciate the emoji, the thumbs up. That's nice. You can also leave hearts and stars and other emojis would be really greatly appreciated. But it is hard sometimes late at night. And when I go back over my case time and time again, it's hard bringing it up. That's why I enjoy comments and questions so much. Also, when you make a comment or a question, you may direct the room to change. I don't know what I'm doing is really sometimes good. I repeat it. I repeat it. So, does anybody have a comment or a question they'd like to share at this time? It'd be nice to have something. Now, it is hard to face reality with CPS. He used to say 50% is bad, but if you took all the percentages, divide, I don't think you'll come up with that. So I don't know what it is. But I do know they really hit hard, functional. As I think back, the mistakes I made, I want to pass them on to you so I don't make the same mistakes. So you don't make the same mistakes because it is hard. Yesterday, I had a call from Georgie, and she was wondering how the fire her attorney. Those are the kind of questions I can help you out with. Or if you want to know what um, the ICWA was, and all that was trying to show one side they're different than the other side. Great, we have someone back in the room. Welcome back. I was hoping that maybe you could give me your first name and the city and state, or if you're from outside the United States, your city and country. And I've been talking a little bit about my case and the cases of others. It's not all sad news or bad news, but we're all here because we want to be here. We want to be helped. But having a social worker show up at your door is terrible, especially if they bring the police. It's very intimidating. But I bet a lot of you don't know that you don't have to let them in or surrender your child, even at their request. There's only, several ways to get in your home. One is by force. If they hear someone fighting or arguing or being hurt, they will break in the door. Two, if you're out of money, that's what they love. They love people out of money because they control them. That shouldn't be the case. That should not be the case. Now, I'm still looking for someone to make a comment or a question so I can answer it. Um, I hope everybody's warm and safe. Now, the upper right hand corner is a great website to check out. It's Vincent W. Davis. Now, he's the attorney that is from the LA County area. He's fighting numerous cases and he wins. Eventually, he wins. People do come back to tell him and record it in there. Um, I was thinking there about a gentleman named David Hilago. He'd been in my room a bunch of times for over a year. And I was always trying to help him out. And his case was very unreal. He's a single dad with two children, a boy and a girl. He's trying to do his best to raise them. So our daughter decided to wage war against them and be reunited with the family. Welcome back, whoever that person that keeps popping in and out, or is this your first time in? That's fine. If you'd like to ask me a question or make a comment, I'd be more than happy to answer it. Or I have my regulars too. I have about 50 to 75 regulars that attend the show, that participate in the acting and so forth. What I've been talking about is Heartland. It's a really good show about family, commitment, and honor, and it's great. It's great. It's like most of them here in the States that wanted to be, but what whatever that they wanted, I went ahead and did it. Now, should I load up the internet app or should I load up the TV one again? We have about half an hour left of the show, and I do like to get into some of my rules. And one of the major emphasis is finding an attorney. That is so important to have an attorney. It really is. And I have an attorney. Hey there, Rocky. I'm so glad you came in the room. It's been lonely. I have had people come and go, not leave messages and not talk. But what's the latest news with your brother in Virginia? What's the latest news? And what else is new, Rocky? How's your brother doing in Virginia? Are you guys still getting a lot of snow and cold weather, or is it sunny? March 27th. I have some important dates on that, so I'll keep that in mind. So there is a chance this case could be dismissed. Oh, I hope so. When's the last time you saw his children? When's the last time you saw his children, Rocky? I will pray for your brother that his case gets dismissed. Wow, that's a long time. What would you like me to answer, a question or a comment or both? Um, no, I wish I was taking phone calls, Rocky. If I do take a call on this one device, StreamYard goes off. No one hears anything. And I haven't got my computer hooked up because the part I'm waiting for is now expended to Monday. It was supposed to be in last week, Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then Friday. And I guess they don't deliver on the weekend. I thought they usually do, but now they're telling me Monday. So Monday, I'll give you an update. Because believe me, if I had that going, StreamYard would be a lot better. We'd have two devices. One device is for the phone, the other device is to run StreamYard. Running them together on the same device doesn't work out very well. Virginia was 80 degrees. Wow. One day it's cold, below 32, and snowy, fresh. The next day it's 80. That's unreal. That's unreal. Now, one thing I know from all my talks and everything is to still have hope and never give up. Too many people give up, and it's very trying. I know how hard it is. Wow, Virginia's got sunshine weather, but New York is 42 degrees. That's cold. That's too cold for New York. Well, today it got up in the, it was not that warm. Right now it's 66. Um, Also, when I go to the internet to look up something, StreamYard freezes. Now, Rocky, I know you couldn't hear me because I went to look up something real quick. And that's the downside. You need two devices to operate StreamYard. One is for taking phone calls um, that come in and so forth, and to look things up. Now, my computer seems to allow me to look things up and still be live on StreamYard. But if I take a call on my computer at the same time, I don't think it can handle it. I think one has to be quiet. I have a laptop, Rocky. The AC brick, after 6 months of a new computer, the wire was fried, and I have to order a new one. It's so new that they're hard to get a replacement one. I'm dealing with the owner of the computer, and they promised me one out, but that was like it's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get this last Thursday, and then at the latest, and then Friday, and then they're going to tell me on Monday. So now I'm looking at Monday for it to be delivered. I'm hope it's here. I hope it's here. It's hard because I invested a lot of money into this computer. So I need one badly. Well, Block Talk Radio costs a lot of money to do that. They don't give free time. So that's why it's hard, Rocky. We did have Block Talk Radio, but I do 21 shows a week, and I don't think Block Talk wants me on their show. I don't think anyone does that many shows. You have to think about it. Would you like to see Johnny Carson 3 times a day, 7 days a week? Well, podcasts are recorded shows. They're not video shows. See, I do a live stream, meaning that if I mess up, it's live. My mistake will show. A podcast, you can edit it. So the best kind is to use StreamYard. There's another one out there. I'm starting to look into it, Rocky, but right now, we pay a fee to StreamYard. But StreamYard has a process pretty good. It can let me run tickets at the bottom. It can let me run little messages, the left side, right side. It lets me, do my pages up. It has emojis. Right now, I have hearts and thumbs up, and I thank you very much for those. And hello, Sheena Lopez's. I'm in. Good. Welcome. Now, Sheena, where are you located? What your city or state or city and country are you? Sheena, and I guess that's the name I'll use is Sheena. And Rocket says, my parents were nice enough to see Johnny Carson's last show appearance. Well, you really know I'm a dinosaur because I've been watching Johnny Carson ever since he became live on the show. I've seen every one of Johnny Carson's show, or I don't know every one of them, but I know for a long time. But even Johnny Carson did a show once a night and then 7 nights a week, so he did 7 shows. And some people like Oprah Winfrey does shows every day, I guess, or every other day. But no one I don't think that I know of does 21 shows. 3 times a day, I talk for an hour. Now, some of these talk shows are longer than an hour. Ed McCann, I remember him too. He was a wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. He was a wrestler. See, I was a teenager in the 60s. I went to Woodstock in 69. I was at the beginning of the Child Protection Agency, but I didn't know about it until 13, 14. I did not know that it existed. You see, CPS is a kept secret. They don't tell you about it in school. Schools are bad. Maybe I'm thinking Ed McMahon, yes, is the co-host with Johnny Carson. I'm sorry, you're so right. Vince, I guess that's what comes with old age, I guess. Sometimes you misplace something. Ed, of course, Ed McMahon. Him and Johnny Carson had a great chemistry, a great show. But I'm here to talk about CPS. So what question do you guys have for me? Earlier today, Rocky, you were talking about your brother. His case is getting pretty close to being heard again. There's a good chance that he be found not guilty. Can you tell me more about what what's going to go happen? Yeah, Johnny's co-host. You're right. It's like you told me when banks went predatory loans was 2008. I thought it was 2009. So I was off a year. I mean, the CPS that we see now was started in 1974. Now, in the 60s, they were talking about CPS, and they actually had they had some issues that needed to be addressed, and that's why it was started. But now it's got out of hand because they found out it makes a lot of money. And money has consumed many of the CPSs because there's no accountability. Oh, your brothers, but there was a motion to dismiss is to overturn the wrongful. That's what I meant. I know your brother was wrongfully convicted, but either you made an appeal and a motion to dismiss to overturn the wrongful conviction. When will we hear about that one, Rocky? When will we hear about that one? I'm so glad you joined me tonight, Rocky. It's great. He's part of my family for all your listeners. Well, I bet your brother really appreciates you, Rocky, and I appreciate you too. And Sheena, you say you're in, but you haven't asked me any questions. Sheena, where are you located? I want to help you. You guys are getting this 1 hour to ask me about CPS, what you can do, not do, and how to get help. And I have an attorney you can work for. His name is Vincent W. Davis. You can reach at the office at 888-888-6582. And he has all the experience you need to fight CPS. He's well schooled and trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. He's also a criminal attorney, so he does trials. He's also a civil rights attorney because he's not a civil attorney, and he does lawsuits. He's won millions of dollars against CPS. He's one of the only lawyers I know that's not afraid of CPS. Most lawyers don't want to handle a CPS case. If they do, they want a lot of money. Because they're dealing with an agency that's so corrupt and lies so much. Now, the hierarchy of CPS starts out with the reporters, the professional reporters, and the layman reporters. They're the ones that report neglect or abuse. Now, neglect is when someone isn't fed, they're left alone supervised, they're not taken to school, not taken to the hospital. It goes on and on. That's neglect. Abuse is when physical harm or emotional harm is caused to the child. Verbal abuse to your child is bad. Arguing in front of your spouse is bad. That does not help the children at all. They don't like to see their parents arguing or against each other. And a lot of times we do, and it's because of a stupid issue called money. Everybody wants more money. And it's true, they need it. It's nothing wrong with it. But then our country's turned into third world because there's no such thing as middle class anymore. You're either poor or rich. Well, then, Rocky, you're younger than me. You're a lot younger than me, Rocky. Sad part about me and CPS is it started later in life, in my golden years. I waited late to get married. I've been through 2 marriages, one for 10 and this last one for 33. So that's 43 years of marriage experience. And I have over 61 years of working. So I have a lot of life skills I can help you out with. All you have to do is ask me. I'll try my best to help you. That's the purpose of me here, is to get you out of your CPS mess. You need to help yourself with this. You need to educate yourself about CPS. Rule number one is you have an attorney. That's going to be your key to success. But you got to make sure you get the right kind of attorney. Attorney that's trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. Also, that attorney has fought CPS and won cases from them. If the person you interview can't answer that question, then you don't want that person. The attorneys are humans like we are. They're good and bad. And your job is to filter, make sure you got a good attorney. And one of the easiest way to do it is make 2 phone calls and ask them 2 questions. The first question is, are you schooled and educated in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law? And have you fought CPS and won? The answer to question 1 is yes. Then you move on to the second question. Second question, after the complete of the court case, have you ever done a lawsuit and won your case against CPS? If you got a double yes, then you got a good candidate. So you should try to find at least, 3, and you're going to take one that you're going to go higher. Now, let's see what Rocky. Oh, he hasn't said anything more. I was hoping you had some more for me, Rocky. Now I have about 13 minutes left or 12 minutes left, and my show will be over. But I don't think I really answer a lot of questions tonight or help a lot of people. And you people have moved on. You're back in. It's like some people are jumping in and out and so forth. But so far, I've had 2 people tonight, Rocky from New York and then Sheena from somewhere. And I'm glad she said she's in, but I don't know what the questions are. I do not know what the questions are. Now, I've been talking for the past 50 minutes a little bit about my background, my involvement with CPS, and what they're doing wrong and bad, so forth. Now, you should never give up. Now, my rule number 1 is get an attorney. My rule number 2 is to organize your paperwork. If you're like me, I was terrible. I just put everything in a bag and didn't worry about it later. But you need to organize it. You need a notebook. And in that notebook, you put all your court papers. You got to use dividers, so you want to make sure you can find everything. Now, socials will have their paperwork, the courtrooms will have their paperwork. Great, you're back. You're back in there, I guess. So we only have about 5 more minutes. It's 4 minutes to the hour. My show goes to 7 o'clock. I love to answer your questions. So please ask me a question. Oh, hey, Kayla. Oh, the ant infestations. You've been talking to me for a couple days on that. Welcome, Kayla. Welcome. She has an ant infestation. She also has a dog upstairs that's barking and locked in all day and is I guess um going to the bathroom up there and making a big mess and everything. The ants are attracted, but there's a partition wall. I don't know where the wall is located, but that's where the ant's nest is. And you have several ways to go with it. One, you could eradicate yourself by getting a spray, an ant killer, and spraying the infected area. Or you can get a something like Vector. I don't know in your area that is called Vector, but it's a pest company that helps with infestation. Now you said you saw the bug bites on your boyfriend, who's the father of your 10-month-old baby. Well, you need to go to the doctor if they've gone bad. I don't know what kind of bites are. There are 4 bites. They look bad. Now, I'm not a doctor, like I'm not a lawyer, but I have something called common sense. Something I call common sense. Let me turn on the comments so people can help out with the remainder of our time. They don't itch, and yes, you're correct. A big mess. I agree. Well, if they don't itch, that disturbs me because usually that's insects will itch, but they're bites. I don't know, they're spider bites or what, but they should itch. And you use calamine lotion if they itch. But you need to have your boyfriend go see a doctor. You don't want to let him get infected or get bad. You need to wash the wound and put a Band-Aid over it and watch it. You can also put some ointment. They could be fleas or mites. Can ants bring in fleas or mites? Well, yeah, you have to understand. Fleas and mites are smaller than ants, and so sometimes they can attach to the body. Depends on what kind of ants you have. But you need a pest control there. You need a spray can of ant spray to kill them first. Then maybe take the dead ants to a pest control place and ask them. Or if you have a microscope, you can look at their bodies and see if there's fleas or mites. But make sure the wounds are washed out. Good soap and water. And some type of a first aid cream, an ointment, can be put on and see if that clears up the wound. If not, you got to see your doctor. Now, I know that a lot of people don't have medical plans, and that is hard when they don't have a medical plan. Now, I have 7 o'clock, and my show is supposed to end, but I don't want to let people hanging here, so I'm taking the time to try to answer your question. Because whatever we do, we don't want your baby to be bitten either, because CPS will charge you with negligence. Yes, make sure you wash it in hot water, very hot water, because you need to kill them. There's also soap you can get that'll kill fleas and mites and other bugs by adding a special kind of killing soap there. So that's a good start. But you need to vacuum and vacuum and vacuum. You need to sweep up. You need to make sure that the infestation isn't attracting them. That the petition water needs to be checked out with code enforcement. And either the owner has to fix it or someone's got to fix it because it'll make a nice nesting spot for ants. Right, we got to make sure your baby isn't bitten because CPS will get involved and charge you with neglect. And you don't want CPS involved. It's so good to see you, Kayla. Where were you all day? I wish you Kim on earlier because I'm getting ready to sign off. Is there anything else you have for me, Rocky? I know they ruined your brother's life. They ruined your life, Rocky. You've been talking about it. It's terrible what CPS does. They've devastated. I lost my forever home. I lost my young daughter, my second daughter. Well, Kayla, it sounds like your landlord, they should have replaced the flooring. You got a big mess there. And I think your first step is to identify what kind of mess you got, and then you need to come up with a solution of how to eradicate it. Now, if it's a big infestation, your landlord should come in there and hire professional pest people to clean it. If you're paying rent, it's your landlord responsible to keep the place up, keep it safe, no mold and everything. I know you mentioned mold the other day, but then you did a test and you thought it wasn't mold. Yeah, you've had all week to code department. Make sure you call Monday. I've talked about that. Code department will check to see if something's not billed right. They will not check the infestation or have a treatment there. Code only checks if things are built correctly. Well, get revenge on anybody. So the AC unit filter used to leak, or maybe it still does. Sounds like you have a lot of problems your landlord needs to repair. I mean, maybe the rent's so cheap. I don't know. I don't know why your situation is there, but if you are paying rent, the landlord is responsible for maintaining the house safe, clean, and things like the dishwasher, if you have one, or the toilet, all those things need to be running. The stove doesn't work, the microwave doesn't work, you need to call them. It wouldn't give me pleasure to get revenge on the CPS worker because it's not going to bring my daughter back. It's not going to get my house back or anything else. A lawsuit will help compensate some of the damages I've lost. I have a good lawsuit, and I can sue the social workers and that social service in Orange County for millions, and I know I'd win. But in order to get started on the case, I have to come up with a deposit, and I don't have it. It's a $50,000 deposit to do a civil lawsuit, and I wish there was a good attorney that would do it for me. I give them half. Some are 80-20% rule. The person sue for you get 20% and you get 80. But I'd rather do a 50-50. If a lawyer can win a case, it's 50 is nothing. I just did that right now. I did that on wrongful termination at work. And they got me money. So I can't complain. I'm sad I don't get to keep it all. But sharing 50%, that's fine. That's fine. I have money better than nothing. Well, I need to know what you want to do, Rocky. You say, who else can I contact besides the Virginia Department of Health professionals? Well, first of all, if your brother's been wrongfully accused and you lose the appeal, the motion to have it dismissed, you can appeal that to the civil rights coordinator in Richmond, Virginia. I think Richmond's the capital of Virginia, right? And what you would do is go to the civil rights coordinator, you look it up, and call them and say that you want to report a bad CPS and they did you wrong. Now, if that doesn't work, then you can go to Doge in Washington, D.C. Now, up in Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C. is right across the Potomac River. And the White House is not that far across the bridge. I used to live in Arlington, so I'm well familiar with Virginia. I lived in Virginia Beach, so I know we're in Norfolk and those areas. I've been all through North Carolina, the Hatteras area there. I've been down in Georgia, through Georgia Tech in Atlanta, University of Georgia in Athens, and you went as far south as Jessup. There's a university down there that I visit there. I'm well familiar what you're trying to do there, Rocky, but you need to identify what you're trying to do. If it's something involves CPS, you can escalate it to the civil rights coordinator in Richmond. And then after that, you have to go to the DOJ, the Department of Government Efficiency. But I do have to go because my time is up. I've already gone 1 hour talking, 1 hour and 1 minute. And it's 10:06. Yeah, 1 billion. You know, it's funny. It's hard to come on with the thing there. You got fired? Why did you get fired? What was your reason? You may have a case. I had a wrongful termination. It seems like a lot of lawyers are doing that, and I can help you out there. Because, you know, you can't be laid off. You can be fired for almost any reason, but they have to give you an opportunity and so forth. And how I was able to work it was through my creative idea of saying that, yes, you can fire me for any reason, you can make up things like that. But if you state in your handbook that you have a review in the first 6 months and you have another review in the next 12 months, you never have review, they never make any effort to redeem the problem, and they just let you go, then you have a financial lawsuit. And a year ago, your baby got born, right? 11th. So I do have to go, you guys. I do. I don't want to. So I'm glad that you guys came up with what you did. Yeah. Kayla, you definitely have a lot of issues there, but I do have to go. So I'll be on again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm on 3 times a day, 8, 1, and 6. And I'm on this 7 days a week, and I've been doing it for 2.5 years. So I'm not going to go anywhere. I do want to help you. I do care about you. Now we have Vanessa. I'm so glad you came on, but you came on at 7:08. And I do have to go. Vanessa, ask me the same question in the morning. Also, I want to know where you're from. And I will help you. I'll help you. Thank you, Kayla. And thank you, Rocky. Well, that's good that he got compensated. Well, thank you, Rocky from New York. Kayla, thank you. Vanessa, I don't know where you're from, but thank you for coming in. And we have one other person here that came into my room, and I don't know where it happened to them. They were here, and then they disappeared. Their name is Sheena. So all of you come back tomorrow. I've already gone over. It's almost 10 after the hour, and I do have to go. So God bless y'all. There's a short video you get to watch at the end. Please watch it. And have a good night. Sleep tight. God bless you. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left.